Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Fantastic piece of news here. We won again. We won again. We won the war against the Russians again. That's how they portray the meeting that is set for next week between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. And after that is going to be another meeting set where we're going to have the three of them meet, which is Donald Trump, Zelenskyy, and Putin. Can you believe this? Well, I have about 17 articles. I'm just going to read the titles for you. So relax, where I'm going to show you how things are portrayed. How did they get to meet? Who agreed to meet? Who proposed that? How come now they want to meet Putin? Did Putin win? Did Putin lose? Did we win, obviously? And then we're going to see the reaction from the White House. Is going to portray this as a great victory, obviously. And then Zelenskyy comes and says, time for peace is now. Will Zelenskyy be fired? Will Zelenskyy go to New York or London? Where is he going to go in exile? All these questions, my friends, right here. And most of all, we win and the Ukrainian nation wins, because I hope he's going to be left off the Western hook. All right, let's start with the first article. Remember, let's start with this though. Witkoff, the Middle East envoy, showed up in Moscow for the fifth time, met Putin yesterday, and Trump said big progress was made. And then Trump immediately said we need to set up a meeting quickly. Why is that? Here. This is New Voice of Ukraine. We decline that, obviously. Trump wants to meet with Putin next week. This is from yesterday at 5:26 p.m. There you go. Victory. All right, that's a Manowar song. U.S. President Donald Trump told European leaders that he is prepared to meet with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin as soon as next week. The New York Times reported on August 6, citing two informed sources. We have the confirmation. Now, why is he informing the Europeans? So, because he's in charge or he received the order? Now, please look at all this, all the articles I'm going to use here, and this is all what it is. Please take note that we won and they lost, and nobody talked to Putin for 3 years. 3 years until Trump came. And then they started talking. So from the get-go, think about who won and who lost. They didn't talk to Putin, and now they talk to Putin. Moreover, they're gonna meet Putin. Remember, we're not gonna talk with the dictator. We're not gonna talk to Putin. Putin must go. And now they meet him. And he tells the Europeans, prepare you to also meet him. So put this, who won, who lose. We will be told in all these 17 articles what we did and how we prepared things. We don't find out what they did, what they gained out of all this. We're not told one reason why the Russians will do this, only that we made them. We did this. But what did they gain? Like you go and buy something, a product. Well, I bought a house. Great. How many bedrooms? 1 bedroom. Okay, good. How much did you pay for it? Crickets. That means you probably super paid for it. That's why you don't tell us. And I'm going to give you another analogy. An example actually, with the Cuban Missile Crisis. The same way, we won. If you tell only half of the story, yeah, we won. And I told you, this thing will be portrayed as NATO won. We can't lose, man. It's Hollywood here. All right, let's move on. The US president outlined the plan in a phone call earlier in the same day with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, also participating in the conversation. According to the source, Trump's potential meeting with a Russian dictator would be shortly followed by a trilateral summit with Putin and Zelenskyy. All right, let's move on. Russia Today, again from yesterday, at 7:14 p.m. Trump intends to meet with Putin next week. New York Times. It's not Putin intends to, it's Trump intends to. And now you say, well, this is Russia Today. Okay, well, hold your horses. I have many titles here. The US president is also reportedly planning to hold a trilateral meeting with Russia's president and Ukraine leader Volodymyr Zelenskyy. See, Zelenskyy is a leader, Putin is a president. On the other one, Putin is Volodymyr Zelenskyy is a president, and Putin is a dictator. Where was it? Right there. Putin is a dictator. Remember, that's how things are made. Rather, U.S. President Donald Trump intends to meet with his Russian counterpart as early as next week. Excellent, excellent, because the report came just hours after Trump praised a meeting between Putin and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, calling it highly productive. Highly productive. Okay, next one. Associated Press. Trump to meet Putin soon, the Kremlin says, as a White House deadline looms on Ukraine. So, they agreed, the Russians agreed. Even the venue was already decided, according to the Russians. What's the venue? We're going to find out. Hey, we're going to meet again. Kiss. All right. New voice. We decline. Clip. Looking at next week, quote unquote, Kremlin says Trump-Putin meeting in the works. Location agreed. Where do you think the location will be? I do not think the location will be anywhere in Europe, except if you consider Turkey, Europe. I don't think it's going to be anywhere in Hungary or across the Ukraine or anything. It's not going to be in west of the front line. All right, so it's not going to be west. It's going to be, if you go down, probably Turkey. That is the most likely location. Or in Saudi Arabia with Mohammed bin Salman. Remember, Mohammed bin Salman about 3 years ago was considered a criminal, Khashoggi, remember, cut in pieces and all that. He was now he's not. He's going to invest about, I don't know, $600 billion in the US. Trump went and shook his hand in Riyadh, if I remember correctly. So he's rehabilitated. He had one of the Ukraine peace conferences. Remember that one? So he's rehabilitated. So I'm guaranteeing we're going to have some Arabs down there wanting to appear with the other guys as the peacemakers. You'll see this. What's up, Meow Meow? Did you bring a toy? Thank you, but I'm busy. See you in 5 minutes. Location agreed. An aide to Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, Yuri Ushakov, told Russian state-run media on... You see, after this war will end... What, Meow? If it ends with Putin still standing... He is not going to be called a dictator anymore. All of a sudden, the condition did not change, just a term. So the same thing with fat. I'm not fat, I'm big boned. The condition is the same, but we use euphemisms. You're fat. Okay, the same here. Now he's a dictator, he's a strong man, he's this and that. After everybody's going to agree and is going to be hailed as a fantastic, monumental historical event, okay, Putin is going to be called president. You'll see that if he's still alive. Okay, so state-run media on August 7th that the location for an upcoming meeting between the Kremlin leader, I thought he was dictator, what the hell, and US President Donald Trump has already been agreed upon, with talks expected in the coming days. The target date for the meeting is next week. Well, let me tell you this. Did you remember, do you remember, one of the conditions the Russians set forth for the meetings with Zelenskyy or Trump? Do you remember? They said, we will not meet only to shake hands in front of the photographers or the media. We will meet to sign documents that were already prepared and agreed in advance. So that means this is not only because I know you know how these Americans are doing here, politicians, but they're nothing, they're empty. The same, the Russians are not rolling like that. They said they keep it the same way as it used to be, which is we meet to solve a problem. We don't meet to, we go back to Washington and Kremlin and we're back to war. And then how beautiful Trump is going to frame that. He's going to be the greatest president of all time, of all countries. The Russians don't roll like that. And it seems like they already agreed to something. Well, we're going to find out. As of now, we won. But what did the Russian win? They're not going to tell you. They will not going to tell you. That tells me by keeping silence of what the Russians gained, that means they gained something these guys don't even dare to mention. We're going to find it little by little because you can stand the truth. Yeah, You can't stand, you can't face, you can't handle the truth. There you go. The Kremlin official said the exact venue will be announced later. Ushakov also claimed that the Russian side did not comment on a proposal from Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff to hold trilateral talks involving Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. So from this right here, you understand who made the first proposal. So the first proposal for these guys to meet was made by the Americans, not by the Russians. Just so you know, it's a big thing. It's not the Russians, the sanctions are killing me, pull it out. It's not like that. The other guys came and said, hey, we gotta meet. And the Russian says, yes, but we need first to sign the document, to agree to the documents. Do you agree? Okay, so put it that way. So the Russian says, no, your proposal with Zelenskyy, yeah, with Trump, yes. But it seems to me that the Americans came with a proposal, and obviously the Russians will not meet for a photo op. All right, let's go to the next one. Here it is. Russia Today. Trump tells team to arrange Putin meeting fast. Why fast? Baby doll? CNN. The US president has praised the progress made during Special Envoy Steve Witkoff visit to the Kremlin. Right, move fast to arrange a meeting with his Russian counterpart. Next one. Russia Pakataka. Trump says US to have meeting with Russia. This is from yesterday. Good. Trump says US to have, not Putin. So who wants to talk to him? The Americans. So remember, they didn't talk to Putin for 3 years and all of a sudden they want to talk. So who lost? Oh, CNN. A better experience now. No, thank you. All right, here, the same. CNN, top Kremlin aide says agreement reached for Trump-Putin meeting in coming days. Why do I use all these guys? So I build some credibility from credible sources like CNN, Reuters, and BBC. Otherwise, I will use only the Russians and the Ukrainians, and people say, what the hell is this? Next, Russia Today. Putin-Trump meeting could happen next week. Both sides have already agreed on a venue for the talks. Where is it? Zakaraka Makamaka Tsukutsuku. But an arrangement in principle has already been reached and that it would happen soon. Witkoff also proposed the idea. You see it right here? Right here. Witkoff also proposed the idea. That means he also proposed the first one of trilateral meeting involving Ukraine's Vladimir Zelenskyy, in which Moscow declined to comment on, according to Ushakov. So he says this Witkoff not only proposed a meeting with Trump, also with the other one. All right. Trump says great progress made with Putin-Witkoff talks in Ukraine. Yeah, because we won. Next, Russia, US agreed to hold Putin-Trump meeting in coming days, Putin ate 3 hours ago. So they will meet. All right, at the suggestion of the American side, an agreement has been reached in principle for a bilateral high-level meeting in the coming days. Specifically, a meeting between President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, Yuri Ushakov. So you see, at the suggestion. It was not anything imposed, according to Russians. Now, together with our American colleagues, with colleagues again? Motherfuckers. We are beginning to work on the specifics. The location for the meeting between Putin and Trump has been agreed upon, and the Kremlin will provide further details later. They won't tell us the freaking venue. Next, New Voice of Ukraine. Looking at next week. Kremlin says Trump-Putin meeting in the works, location agreed. Come on, baby doll. They're not gonna give us. Again, target is next week. Next. Kremlin, preparation already underway. So the preparation for the meeting started. This is gonna happen. Venue selected. This is from today, 7 at 11:16 their time. All right, next one. Trump planning to meet with Putin and Zelenskyy, New York Times. So Trump is planning. And he opened the door. So he's not doing this because of goodwill. He realized his sanctions probably don't work and probably has to agree with something that the media will tell us like a little drop. Pick. They're not going to give us the whole glass. These guys are going to have an apoplectic attack. They will not Even for the baboons, that would be too much. Why? They will say, so you said until today that we're winning and the sanction works and we should not talk to the dictator and all that. And now you tell us that we want to meet him? We talk to him? How come? But you don't tell us what they gained out of this? Something is not kosher, to be politically correct, if you know what I mean. Let's move on. And this is true. Everything was true before, but here, Putin-Trump meeting could be historic. Russian envoy. So that means these guys already decided at the Ukraine peace. They're not going to meet only to show their balls in front of us, which is going to be... Anyway, Moscow has confirmed that one-on-one talks could happen as soon as next week. All right, this can be a historic meeting, he wrote, adding a dove emoji. Dialogue will prevail. Good. Russia confirms Putin-Trump summit may happen next week, with preparations are ongoing. Excellent. Next one. Opa, we got the weasel. Now, this guy, like the narcissist, they lose the spotlight. Like, what's her name? Married with ginger balls. What's his name? Harry from Great Britain, that family that is. Except, what's her name? Kate Middleton. They are like misfits, weaklings and inbred. What's her name? Markle. What's her name? Meghan Markle. The same narcissistic. Oh my God, the lights are not on me. Hoo-hoo, I'm here. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. The same with Zelenskyy. Me too. Hey, what about me? What about you? He wants to play an important role. Zelenskyy will go. Now, how he will go? And remember, Zelenskyy is not how should I put it? A roadblock in all this. No, Zelenskyy is just Zelenskyy. Time to go. Pick up your shit. Get your millions and go to London. And then Zelenskyy would say, yes, sir. I'm going to be a comedian now in London. That's what he's going to do. So, but anyway, he's losing the spotlight. So he says, Zelenskyy announces numerous calls and contacts today to advance peace. So actually, he is the one who advances peace. He is the one. And I'm not over. Because that right there, President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, announced a series of upcoming phone calls and contacts with international partners aimed at making meaningful progress on the path to peace. Why? The guy already told them, hey, prepare, I got everything ready. And he's like, oh, what about me? What about me? All right, next. I'm not done with the imbecile. Trump's Ukraine exit strategy. Sacrifice Zelenskyy for peace. No, I don't believe this. This is an analyst I don't believe. Lieutenant Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski, oh my God, are you Polish? Retired USAF ex-Pentagon analyst, reveals Trump's likely end game. I would put money on a bet that Mr. Witkoff has advised Trump the easiest way to get Ukraine off the headlines and counted as a win for peace is to fire Zelenskyy. I mean, really, this is not, no. And have a new popular leader in Ukraine see a signatory to an end of hostilities with Russia. Yes, that's probably what's going to be. But there's not, we need Zelenskyy. I don't think Putin gives a fuck. Putin says, you know what? I don't care if it's going to be Zelenskyy or not. Ukraine will decide that, the Ukrainian people. Let them hold the elections. That's why it is. It's not that Zelenskyy is over there or not. Zelenskyy could sign, if he's the legitimate leader, president, could sign the peace treaty. Would be, we are in Russia's sphere of influence. Thank you very much, NATO. We'll never see you. Bye-bye. That's how it's going to be. It's just this is a messenger. This is a, how do you call it? Executor. The person who executes. Not but executes. Something that was given, an order given. He's just a guy who's going to be moved out. Thank you very much. You're not working anymore. I'm going to buy another one. That's how it is. She's not oh my God, Trump is portrayed as Putin wants Zelenskyy out. He doesn't care what kind of piece of shit leads Ukraine, as long as Ukraine listens to what he tells them. That's what it is, like Trump. Trump doesn't care if Putin is called a dictator or not. We, dealt with many dictators. We supported many military juntas. We did a lot of garbage. So we don't care as long as the guys follow our orders. As long as Pinochet stops following orders in Chile, then we get him out. Right? Because we immediately realize we have values. My friends. Next one. And here is Zelenskyy who comes back right here. This is according to Russia Today. U.S. believes Ukraine peace closer than yesterday. I'm sorry, this is Rubio. Next one is going to be Zelensky's time, I think. So, closer than yesterday. Believes. So it's about peace. You see, you have to read little by little. You have to get from all the articles. And if you read them, little pieces, little hints that give you, oh, so these guys are going to sign something? It's going to be a peace? Not a ceasefire. Putin will not agree to a ceasefire. He wants a peace. A peace. The same, everybody wants a peace. But on whose terms? That's all that matters. On whose terms? Remember, if I want your car, and you say no, we're going to start fighting, and everybody's like, oh my God, Emil doesn't want peace. I want peace. Give me your car. I'm going to have peace. It's my terms. So that's the same here. So these guys are talking about peace. Little by little, I told you, they're going to give us information. So it's about peace. They're going to sign something. And where is Zelenskyy? If Trump and Putin meeting the same, we're closer. President Donald Trump has described in the recent visit of his special envoy to Moscow as highly productive. Excellent. And here we're told that actually we won. You got it? New voice. Today, White House, U.S.-Russia summit is Kremlin's move. There you go. Well, don't make a fool of yourself, baby doll. A U.S.-Russia summit was suggested by the Kremlin's dictator, Vladimir Putin. You hear this? So these guys are saying that Putin suggested. Well, let me break the news for you. Putin, for 3 years and a half, said, I'm here. Call me. Everybody, I'm for it. And what did the other guy say? We're not going to talk to you. We're not going to talk to you. They did not talk to him. So why would Putin say, hey, can we meet? You already knew these guys don't want to talk to you. They consider a dictator, a war criminal. So again, this I think is kind of like BS. Is it impossible that Putin suggested? No, it's not impossible. But I don't think Putin begged Witkoff to meet Zelenskyy. I don't believe that. Why? Who comes to whom? Putin was considered a pariah for 3 years and a half. Nothing changed. Putin still a dictator. Putin still is a war criminal. Putin still is everything that we are supposed to hate, they tell us. Okay? Like many other leaders in our history. So he is like that. Nothing changed. His condition, he's still fat. So how come now we call him big boned? Why don't we call him fat as we, you know what I mean? So I don't think he's going, hey, I want to meet. What are you talking about? We don't talk to you. What do you mean meet you? No, I don't think it's that. It's not impossible. But I don't think that's the truth. All right. Next one. Trump is open to meeting with both President Putin and President Zelenskyy and wants this brutal war to end, she said. Well, how about what's going on, baby doll, in Gaza? We don't want that to end? How about those people who are killed over there by your bosses? You don't want that to end? How about helping the Palestinian children who are massacred over there? Why don't you send them a few Patriot systems to defend themselves from your weapons that you give to your boys? You know who they are, actually your bosses. So don't give me this shit. Oh, the bloodshed should end. This brutal war to end. You don't move one finger in the Middle East. One. On the contrary, you move it on the direction that it shouldn't be moved. Earlier today, Trump told European leaders in a telephone conversation that he wanted to meet with Putin. You see here? Who wanted to meet with Putin? So what the fuck are you talking about? Russia summit was suggested by the Kremlin dictator. And it says early today, Trump told that he wanted to meet with Putin as soon as next week, hoping to... All right, pop, a lot has happened. There will be many impediments to overcome, trapalapa, and so we won again. Putin. Now let me give you, before I go to, let me go to the last, this is the last one that I got ready. Zelenskyy declares time to end the war. So see, he is the guy. He is the guy who is going to be portrayed. Zelenskyy say, you know what, guys, I came down to you from heaven and I tell you you should stop the war. And everybody, yes, I think Zelenskyy is the man of peace. Fuck off. Anyway, out. Let's talk about how we won. Again, I don't know how many, maybe 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I said how I put forth some suggestions, some options, how the war will end and how it will be portrayed. And in one of these, I said the most probable situation will be Russia will not collapse, and these guys will decide it's too much for some interest, not for us, okay? And then they will portray it as we won. Somehow, anything the Russians do will be portrayed that we made them do it, and we won. What are you gonna say? We lost. But if you look at the territory or in the peace treaty or whatever is gonna happen, you're gonna realize it's not so. Remember, this thing happened with NATO wanting to get closer to Russia and eventually get on Russia. This is the main goal: destroy Russia, then China, and take over. That's what the whole thing is. Ukraine was just when the Russians put the foot in the blah, 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 and said, you know what, that's it. No, this is it. And the guy says, okay, let's get it on. And they didn't destroy Russia for 3 years and a half. They didn't. So what's going on now? We're going to find out if those 4 requirements of the Russians, remember, they entered Ukraine with no unjustifiable reasons, but they have reasons. But anyway, we don't accept them. That's the problem. Another problem. Obviously, they had their reasons, but we discard their reasons as being utopic. You're utopian. Demilitarization of Ukraine, no NATO, denazification, recognition of the situation with East Ukraine. And that's it. These are the Russians, like, non-negotiables. And then we can talk about the rest. You're going to find out in the little peace treaty that this thing will be there. That means who lost, who won already. So these guys are portraying it as we won. Now let me tell you how they will portray it. It's very strange that we made them do everything, but we don't hear anything what they gained. That tells me they don't want to tell us what the other guys gained. Why? It would be embarrassing for us. And as an example, I will give you the Cuban Missile Crisis. Remember, I will give you that as an example. Here in America, this is portrayed like this. JFK looked into Khrushchev's eyes, and Khrushchev blinked. Love you. And we won. That we made, that they call it incorrectly, the Russians take their nuclear missiles from Cuba. First lie, there were no nuclear missiles in Cuba. There was no nuclear missile in Cuba. That's the first lie. There were some tubes transferred over there, and the guys were working on creating launching pads. That's true. But they don't tell you what happened. So how did this happen? This happened like this. The evil Russians, this is how it's taught in America. I'm telling you, that's the way it is. The Russians, not the Soviets, the Russians, that's how these guys are. Most of them. That's why when I hear Russians, no. Russians with a Georgian dictator, Stalin, or with a whatever he was, Ulyanov, Mr. Lenin, or with Trotsky. They're all Russians, but you can't find them. Anyway, so you got the Russians, evil as they are, we're gonna bury you, wanted to plant, just because they're evil, they wanted to plant nuclear warheads in Cuba to attack us, the free world, god damn it. That's what it is. And then JFK said, oh, we caught them. The sneaky Ruskies were putting their little tubes on top of their vessels, with a tarp, so you can see them if we fly over and we get upset. So they showed us what they're doing, and we caught them. And we said, you know what? You're going to take the missiles away from Cuba, the nuclear missiles that you already have. And Khrushchev said, "Niet, and we're gonna make you." And then Khrushchev said, okay, I'm scared, you beat me. And that's how we won, man. The Russians took their nuclear missiles from Cuba. We made them. We won. Give me the fucking Bud Light. That's how we won. No, it's not like that. The history has a beginning and an end. They tell you from the middle whatever they like. The beginning, how did it start? The same as Ukraine. The Americans planted real nuclear missiles called Jupiter in Italy and Turkey. Right there. And the evil Soviets told to the good Americans, hey guys, which is Khrushchev told, what's his name? JFK, hey, take your little missiles out of this place. All right, you're too close. And these guys, like Putin told NATO, hey, take your shit from Ukraine, you're too close. And the guys said, what are you gonna do? Huh? What are you gonna do? And Khrushchev said, like Putin, oh, we're gonna make you. make me. And that's the way it happened. They entered Ukraine. And these guys said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do the same thing to them. See if they like it. If they're just and free world and beautiful, if they do something, if we do the same thing, would be great, right? No. Why? Because it's not about being just and free world. This is just for baboons, okay? So then he prepared, let's start transferring and preparing 4 missiles, but make sure they see them. And they put those tubes and they started everything in plane. These guys, Americans, oh my God, they're building some shit over there. And they start calling Khrushchev. At the time, I don't think they have a phone call. Only after that, they implemented the red line. So then they communicated, stop that, we're going to do this. And Khrushchev said, hey, remember when I told you about the Jupiter? You take your fucking Jupiters out as we demanded, and then we're going to stop constructing those. And the Americans said, what should we do? Yes. And the Americans says yes. So Khrushchev, okay, stop everything, and they agreed in 6 months, the Americans to take their nuclear rockets, Jupiter, from Turkey out. They don't tell you. So who won? Is I want you to do something. I want you to move left. And you say, no, I don't want you. Okay, I'm going to move here. And you say, oh, I don't like you to move here. Okay, then move left. You're going to move left. So I made you move left. So who won? So again, but we won. The missile everywhere, Cuban missile crisis. We won. We beat the Ruskies. Yeah, well, the shit. Anyway, the same here. Yeah, it's going to be portrayed. We made Putin blink. We got him with my sanctions. We threatened them with our might, the greatest military. We made Putin talk to us. When actually we did not want to talk to him. They will not tell you the whole story. And the Russians will do the same thing. We beat NATO and so on, because that's the way it is, my friends. So great, they will meet. Fantastic, fantastic. Remember, if they meet, that means they already agreed to some, I don't know, something that will help peace in Ukraine. But I suspect the Americans agreed to what the Russians told them. The Russians said, we're going to implement this, we're going to do this. If you think the sanctions, first, you can sanction those guys. I will make another video after this with how the Americans are trying to hurt now India and China. By the way, Modi is going to go to India and Putin is going to go to New Delhi in India. So I think Trump realized his limitations. I need to make peace with this guy. I'm going to try to threaten. By the way, Lula da Silva wants to make organize a summit, BRICS summit, to deal with the Americans. So I don't think that they are laying down crying like a bitch, okay, because these guys impose sanctions on them. How can you impose sanctions on Russia when you don't do business with them? Or you try to impose sanctions on the other guys will retaliate to you. And I don't think you are as you think you are. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Great news though, great news. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.